I'm John Seaman. I'm here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin with Kerry Couts. We're covering the Elkhart Lake Vintage Festival. The event is put on by the Vintage Sports Car Drivers Association. This year, the Elkhart Lake Vintage Festival is celebrating its 34th year, and it's also the 50th anniversary of the Formula Ford. Formula Fords are open-wheel, single-seat racing cars, mainly built in England. There are 3 classes of Formula Fords that will be running this weekend. The early cars are considered vintage, and the more modern cars are considered club racers. Paul Page, the voice of the Indianapolis 500, will be the honored guest this weekend. A once-in-a-lifetime event, the Formula Ford turnout this weekend is estimated to be almost 190 cars. The traditional one-hour Enduro, sponsored by Jeff Porasek and Raymond James, will benefit disabled veterans and will be held on Friday afternoon. This race will have a full grid of cars from all the different classes racing this weekend. Saturday will have qualifying sessions and sprint races in 13 different race groups. Some of the cars in these groups include pre-war, vintage production, sports racer, historic production, Formula V, and Formula Ford. Saturday evening will feature the Gather on the Green Invitational Car Show. This car show is held on the grounds of the Osthoff Resort in downtown Elkhart Lake. On Sunday morning, the races for the different groups begin. The Elkhart Lake Vintage Festival also has 3 different cup races. Cup races are different from the qualifying group races because the cars all race based on lap times in 3 different groups. There will be the Kimberly Cup, the Sheldon Cup, and the Elkhart Lake Group. I'm with Steve Beeler. Steve is one of the people that helped organize the Formula Ford 50th anniversary this year. Give us some information on how this all got started.
Well, 10 years ago, with my good friend Mike Rand, I helped organize the Formula Ford 40th. 2.5 years ago, it was time to think about doing a 50th or not, and I decided, let's do it again. Outlined a business plan, approached Deb and Mike Cornelli, the Elkhart Lake Vintage Festival race chair. They ran it past the VSCDA board. They also liked the idea, and so we were off and running. I don't have the exact count, but 180 sounds pretty close. We have drivers from 33 states, and we have international participation, quite a few people from Canada. We have 2 drivers from Australia and another from Mexico.
I'm with Roland Johnson, and he has an early vintage Formula Ford with some history.
The owner of the car is actually Catherine Jaquez. Her husband bought the car. The car is a 1969 Lotus 51, and it is the car that won the very first Formula Ford race in the United States. That was at Willow Springs in March of 1969. Vern Jaquez, who was the guy that owned it when it went vintage racing, was a very good friend of mine, and I used to help him and he used to help me. When he passed away, the car is part of the family, and he asked me to drive the car before that, and so we've been driving the car for about 20 years now. The engine that's in it now is called an uprated engine because that's all you have the parts to build out there in today's world. But it makes about 113 horsepower, something like that, and 1600cc pushrod engine. Everybody has to run the same engine. The engines are basically stock, so the range of horsepower for legal engines is pretty narrow.
What are your experiences here so far?
Oh, it's a great event. This is a great track. Everybody loves this track. We came in from California. I'm from San Diego, California.
Get out yesterday?
Yes, it was diabolical. Yeah, the track was very, very slippery.
I'm with Alan Letterly. Tell us about your Formula Ford.
It's a 1972 Royale RP3A. It too was made in England, and like most of the cars in that vintage, they were made in England, and shipped to the U.S. and raced. I just bought it a year ago.
Road America had some rain yesterday, so the practice sessions were pretty limited.
This is our qualifying day, so we're going to have to learn the track on the fly. You know, I mean, the local guys will have an advantage, but we'll catch on quick.
I'm with Steve Barkley, and he's from Colorado. This is one of the vintage Formula Fords.
The car's a 1969 Winkleman. It's Palliser Winkleman, actually. They built the chassis in England. Bob Winkleman out in California imported them and finished the cars off, and progressively each year made a different model. It runs a Ford 1600cc, so it's the original Ford Kent engine. It's called an uprated engine, and they're just a little more reliable and a little bit more horsepower out of them. We run on treaded tires because that's what they did back in the day. The modern cars now can run on slick.
What are the weight restrictions in the class?
This weekend they're running 1,115 pounds is the minimum weight.
How long have you had the car, and where did it come from?
This car came from Mancos, Colorado. I bought it in 2016 and ran it with the Cortina engine the first year, even ran an Indy that way. And then that engine was tired, so we put a new engine in it. Pete Christensen at Total Precision built me a brand new engine for it, and it's a nice, strong engine.
with Tom Stefani. This Formula Ford is a Crosley 35F. Tell us what year it is and a little more information on the car, Tom.
This car is a 1978 chassis. The most recent rebuild was built by Peter Egan of Road and Track fame. Peter Egan rebuilt this car and raced it only a few times and put it up for sale for a variety of reasons. Called Peter and went down to see it, and I said, as soon as I saw it, I said, I got to buy it. It was priced right. It's well built. I mean, he really went through it, ground up rebuild, and it's beautiful. I raced it for 5 years, mostly in vintage racing, but sometimes in SCCA club racing as well. Car's been wonderful. We've won lots and lots of races with it, and it's just been a lot of fun to drive. Over this winter, we had everything redone again, and Lindstrand Motorsports did that for us. They're located in Darien, Wisconsin, and they did a great job, and we had it repainted, and we did all this stuff because it was getting a little bit of battle worn at that point. So it's a great car, John, and I can tell you that I've just never had more fun in a race car.
I've got a question concerning aerodynamics. You've got a little wing on the back that kind of sticks way out there, and I've not quite seen that on every car. What's that about?
Well, here at Road America especially, we've got a special nose on this thing for the Road America as well. These cars, these Crosleys are not very aerodynamic. Got a little wicker bill on the back that helps to clean up the air. It makes it a little bit slicker through the air, but the main reason for it is it will give us a little bit of downforce in the carousel.
Well, what kind of RPMs do you turn on one of our long straights here at Road America?
I'm thinking right around 7,000 at going into Canada Corner. That's where they really pull the revs. So these are great cars. They're great cars to race, great cars to drive. I've been coming to Road America since 1959. So that's 60 years ago. I came with my dad, and he had the Nicky Chevrolet racing team. The very first race I did here was in 1972. And so we've basically raced here almost every year since 1972. There have been a few gaps along the way, but it's, this is our home track, basically. I mean, this is the one I really feel comfortable at. It's a great track for, coming and spectating. It's a great track to come up for IndyCar or the NASCAR races or the vintage races or June sprints. All of them are fantastic races. And this event, of course, with all these Formula Fords here is just incredible. I'm somewhat intimidated by the number of cars here simply because it's going to be hard to get a clean lap, and I'm concerned about yellow flags and that kind of stuff, but we'll see how it goes.
I'm with Todd Willing.
The Formula Ford is a Merlin Mark 20A. It was built in 1972 in the UK, in Colchester actually, in England. I've actually only had it since the start of the year. I found it locally in Wisconsin, in fact. I just transferred for work across from Australia, and with all the 50th anniversary activities going on this year, I had to be part of it.
Have you been racing Formula Fords before?
I've raced for around 5 years in Australia, in Formula Ford.
What do you think of Road America?
Well, I came to Road America knowing its reputation. It's a world-renowned circuit, and it certainly hasn't disappointed. It's such a wonderful experience.
It's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since you've been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to your faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes, yeah. Here no sun, 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 here it comes. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since you've been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Without all of your support and the cars that you bring your babies, the show wouldn't happen. So thank you very much to all of you. Here we have people, I'm sure, from all walks of life and whatever their political persuasions are, but we're here having a good time, beautiful day, sharing our love for the hobby of cars and racing.
This money goes to kids that can't afford to go there. It's even better. So that's why we're so happy to do this and have them as our sponsor. And it doesn't happen with all you great people that bring the cars and the spectators that come.
And today, for the first time, you bested them.
Yep.
You got to be excited about that. Could you just tell me a little bit about how it went?
Yeah, exactly. As you stated, Colin and I have had some great races through the years. Typically, Colin's got me bested. On occasion, I can beat him. Today was one of those days. Just real quickly, though, a shout out to Joe and Jason at Race Tech. Without these guys, we don't race today. So they're new to us, we're new to them, and without them, again, we don't race today. And then my buddy Eric, who's always here for me, a thank you to him. But the race itself, Adam's the fastest guy here right now, but we had car troubles the last day and a half, and he got by me at the start. About lap 2, he pulls off on 5, and I'm like, crap. So suddenly it's all me, and Colin had a pretty good gap on me. I just kept chasing, and I caught him.
Well, congratulations, and for those that don't know, Adam is Randy's son. For the Kimberly Cup is John Bauer, and John, this is your first time getting the big win and standing up here with these throngs of people that are just in awe of you. Why don't you talk a little bit about how the race went today?
Well, the race went real good. We started out this morning in the wet. We were going to put our rain tires on. We said, heck no, it'll dry out. It didn't. And that was the most terrifying moment I had racing this morning or whatever. And I was really going to put the car in the trailer and say the heck with it. And I decided, let's go out and try it again. And Mark and I had a good battle there. Our school was on it. And God, we were having fun. And it got to the point like the second or third lap, if we were blowing the 3 minute, we didn't care. We were just having fun. So I want to thank Mike and Deb and Stacy and Jim and all the sponsors here. We really appreciate it. This is my 21st year of racing that old turd of mine. And like I say, I'm just excited. I don't even know what to say. So thank you. I know some of you know me. I'm usually not a long-winded guy, but we've got a couple hours yet that I can keep talking. But no, thank you very much.
He's a good driver. He's a fun competitor, and he got it all put together today and got it right. So, Joe, here's your chance for 15 seconds of fame, baby.
Well, started out in 6th place this morning on the grid, and somehow luck was with me, and I ended up moving up to outside front row. So I'm sure that helped out for this overall winning. I sure appreciate it. This is the second time I've won.
Well, that's okay. You've earned it. And enjoy the best road course in North America. Thanks. And I think it's back to...
My car is a Lola T540, and it is a Club Formula Ford, and that is for cars that were manufactured from 1973 to 1981 with outboard suspension on one end of the car. And there's a very large universe of cars that fall into that subcategory of Formula Ford.
Seth Letterly has one of the more modern Formula Fords called a Club Ford. What year and specs does this have?
This is a 1981 Zinc 16.
The differences between the vintage and the Club Fords is what?
They started getting more modern, some better aerodynamics. There were some big changes in suspension around the mid-80s. The Kent Block 1600 motor, same as all the other vintage, just same engine.
Did you get a chance to go out yesterday in the rain?
Yeah, I made it out on all 4 sessions last night in the rain. It was fun. It was different. It made it challenging to try to figure out the line being here the first time, but we'll see how today goes.
How'd you like Road America?
It's good. It's open. It's green. It's a lot what I expected. It's a nice historic track to come do for the first time.
I'm with Pete Christensen. This Formula Ford is one of the vintage Formula Fords.
Fort Collins, Colorado. This is a 1970 Winkleman WDF2. There was 49 approximately of these built. We're here with a pretty good contingent from Colorado. I think there's 11 of us. It's the Kent uprated 1600 engine. Most of the Formula Fords here this weekend will be running that. Our home track is in Colorado. It's east of Denver. It's called High Plains Raceway. It's out east of the airport. It's a great facility. 2.6 mile, a lot of elevation change. We turn out about 130 cars at an event out there.